Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Renee Box Young. This is a platform where we simply discuss, critique, and analyze, and simply talk about the sport of boxing in a level-headed, mature, coherent fashion. Definitely subscribers since day one, recent subscribers. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you guys so much, for tuning into live sessions, the flash lives, tuning into the premieres. Real-time chatting away there, definitely. Playback family also, man. Thank you guys so much for commenting in the comment sections of the videos. Hit the notification bell so you know when I do my flash lives, because I do it out of nowhere. Bam! Out of nowhere. That's what I'm talking about, man. So, if you're new, tuning in, go ahead and subscribe. If you love the sport of boxing, it's as simple as that, man. This is a place for you, definitely. I want to talk about this. Look, let's talk about some Jake Paul, man. This happened years ago, plural. This whole wave and this whole trend, of influencer boxing. And not only that, back when it happened with KSI and Logan Paul, it wasn't only that. It was also, with the old timers coming back, the old legends in the sport of boxing. When I say old, I've said it time and time again, man. When I talk about old, I talk about old for the sport of boxing, okay? I'm not necessarily talking about their old fogies and things of that nature. No, of course not, Old for the sport of boxing. These old retired folk, family legends, champs, former champs, etc., Hall of Famers, who have been out the sport for many years, and they're coming back. This whole new trend that's been going on, for the past couple years, I've been very skeptical about it. But this has caught my attention. This is why I'm making this video. This has caught my attention concerning Jake Paul and the Tyrone Woodley fight. Now we know that Jake Paul, Tyrone Woodley. The fight, Tyrone Woodley, a former UFC guy. That's just another example, with this trend stuff that I'm talking about. His former UFC guy, Ben Askren, the guy who, Jake Paul fought prior to this, old UFC guy, coming back after many years of being retired. We're just seeing this trend. I know there's a lot of things to criticize, and I have criticized it when it all came out. But I got something, some things caught my attention concerning Jake Paul, and I repeat one more time, that's why I'm making this video, okay? I personally thought that the sport was going to be destroyed because of this, I'm a zealous fan, I guess we can say, of the sport of boxing. I love the sport of boxing. Just look at, just watch the introduction of my video, of my channel, sorry. The introduction of my channel, it explains my perspective on the sport of boxing. I just love it, and when this whole trend came out, I thought it was quite stupid and foolish, okay? But now that time has gone on, I necessarily don't dig it yet, but there are some points, and I've talked about this before, I just don't remember which video or what live session I talked about this, but I did talk about how there are some positive points concerning this, and Jake Paul in particular, okay? I doubted what he has been doing in the sport of boxing for, a minute. But as of late, I had some free time, man. I had some free time, which I really don't have. And I went back and I watched the All Access episode, okay? For the Jake Paul and Tyrone Woodley fight, okay? I watched the All Access. And, what I love about those All Access programs, man, in the lead up to fights, is, you can see more intimate. You can see a fighter. You can see a fighter more intimately, and you can hear, their heart a little bit more and their perspective, when it comes to a certain fight, you know what I mean? More in depth. And I saw that in Jake Paul. And before that too, watch this. And before that All Access video, I kind of perceived something different concerning Jake Paul, I see he's quite serious in the sport of boxing. Now, who am I? I gotta say this, man. I gotta respect, and I've said it time and time again, man. I respect everybody who steps in that ring, Same with MMA fighters, same with BKFC. I just respect them. All these combat sports fighters, man. My hat's off to all of them, And who am I to knock a guy who wants to come in and make something in the sport, do something with himself in the sport of boxing? I'm going to get to that in a moment, okay? Because it gets deep, man. And I dig that. I definitely respect that. And I'm not the only one. Let's get right to it, man. Let's get to the boxingscene.com. You already know, link in the description. I'm not the only one that's kind of, saying this, okay? Showtime, he's the, Espinosa, president of Showtime, if I'm not mistaken, he says, I was skeptical at first. I repeat, link in the description, you check it out. But I think Jake Paul can draw new fans to the sport. I've talked about this too before, but I want to get right to his quotes. Okay, it says right here. This is Steven Espinosa saying. He says, "I think he can draw new fans to the sport, and he can convert his fans if you serve those fans the right thing. You want action fights, and what's not to like about a Daniel Dubois fight or an Amanda Serrano fight? So I think if you're new to boxing and it's the first time you bought a pay-per-view or you only buy Jake Paul pay-per-views, there's enough on this card." Check this out, ladies and gentlemen. He says, "There's enough on this card where you can say, you know what? I'm a fan of boxing beyond just Jake Paul. And that's by design." Ooh, check that out. And that's by design. I gotta stop there. So you see what Steven Espinosa is saying there, and there's something I gotta mention right here. We gotta pause this. Look. There's several things to say and points I want to talk about that are important. I want you to consider this, please, okay, as a boxing fan. You know, Jake Paul has also, if I'm not mistaken, a promotional company, you know, and I think he's going to, you know, focus a lot of energy and funds or what have you, invest in, you know, this promotional company, which is called Most Valuable Promotions or something like that, MVP, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, that's Jake Paul's promotional company, okay? He did that for the sport of boxing mainly, okay? And, you can, that's just one point there that you can see. That's one, I guess, hint or clue where we can see Jake Paul's seriousness in this, okay? And shouts out to Jake Paul, man. I'm not going to knock this, man, because shouts out to him, as Steven Espinosa just said a moment ago, which I wanted to explain also. You know, just in the card, in the whole event for the Jake Paul versus Tyrone Woodley fight, you got Daniel Dubois coming back here. You know, after his loss, you know, from, you know, Joe Joyce, beating him with the jab. I've said it too, man. I still got hope in Dan Dubois in the heavyweight division. I think he can do something great in the heavyweight division, but he just has to work on some things. He has to grow. He's still a prospect. And it's interesting how Jake Paul considered Daniel Dubois, man, to fight. I mean, that's great in that event. Amanda Serrano, ladies and gentlemen, you know. I mean, you know, shouts out to her promoter. I think it's Ludabella, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. Go ahead and, you know, chat there in the premiere, you know, in the live chat there. Or if, you know, the playback family, if I'm wrong, please in the comment section of the video. I don't know everything. It's freaking so much in the sport, but I know everything. Whatever. But that's how we grow, right? We all learn from each other. But if I'm not mistaken, you know, Amanda Serrano, her promoter's Ludabella, if I'm not mistaken. But whatever. I think she's a free agent. I'm not sure, man. But this is a great opportunity for what I'm trying to get at is this is a great opportunity for Amanda Serrano, ladies and gentlemen. She has amazing accolades, just like Katie Taylor, just like Clarissa Shields. You know, keep an eye out, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe in the future, Most Valuable Promotions will open the door up for Clarissa Shields in this. Clarissa Shields, ladies and gentlemen, come on now. I made a video about this. Push these videos, ladies and gentlemen, because we talk about things that are very important. You know, I'm not saying other platforms don't, but, you know, I made a video about Clarissa Shields some time ago on an Instagram live that she had, okay, with her promoter, talking about networks didn't want to, you know, invest in her. I mean, she has amazing accolades, ladies and gentlemen. Respect to Clarissa Shields. Respect to Amanda Serrano. Respect to Jessica McCaskill. Respect to, you know, I mean, all these, you know, these female fighters out there, ladies and gentlemen. They're making freaking, they're accomplishing amazing accolades. Shouts out to the announcer guy. I don't know his freaking name. I'm sorry, man. I just, you know, I'm sorry. But it's this UFC guy who was there in the you know, in the press conference, in the last press conference, if I'm not mistaken, the weigh-in of Jake Paul and Tyrone Woodley, Amanda Serrano, and all them. You know, the guy with glasses, bald head guy, you know, I think he's a UFC guy. A lot of people don't like him or whatever. He gets criticized a lot. I don't know. I don't care. Whatever. But shouts out to him. Why? Because he gave his props to Amanda Serrano, you know, when you know, after the weigh-in, after the face-off, you know, against Yamilet, if I'm not mistaken, you know, her opponent, you know, from Mexico. Shouts out to her. You know, he called Amanda Serrano, you know, to give her, so she could give her last words or whatever. They didn't call Yamilet. Hey, that's nonsense, man. You got to call out all the fighters to come and talk. I don't know why after the weigh-in. I don't know if she didn't want to though, but whatever. But yeah, man. So Amanda Serrano goes to this guy, and he said, that announcer guy, I don't remember the words exactly, you know, but I'm paraphrasing. He said something along the lines of, hey, show some respect to her because of she's one of the best. She's the best female fighter, or one of the best, whatever, in the world. One of the best fighters in the world. You know, show some respect to Amanda. You see what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? Had it not been for this opportunity, you know, Amanda wouldn't be out there in the limelight as she is now because of Jake Paul, man. Jake Paul is giving fighters an opportunity, man. I mean, that's amazing. Shouts out to Jake Paul for that. I know Jake Paul says crazy things. Sometimes he acts weird and really immature. Okay, yeah, but didn't other fighters do that too in the sport of boxing? Don't they do that as well? It's entertainment, whatever the heck you want to call it. I don't really care about it, but Adrian Broner, just look at him. I mean, look at Mayweather, what he's done in his career to get attention, to pull fans, etc., etc. I mean, I know it's a debatable thing, but I know Jake Paul. He says a lot of things that aren't whatever. He can get criticized about a lot of things, yeah, but I want to focus on things that we can respect in him, ladies and gentlemen. And like I said, going back to that, I watched this All Access. Okay, I had free time in my hands. Man, which I really don't have. And I went back and watched the All Access video. In the lead up to the fight of, the All Access episode for Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley. And man, in that program, episode, whatever, series, whatever you want to call it, Jake Paul has like a boxing academy thing, foundation, or whatever you want to call it, man. I'm sorry with these terms. I'm not the best, but he has like an academy, and he wants to it looks like he's serious, ladies and gentlemen. Expect Jake Paul to be in boxing for a minute, if not in the background. In this boxing academy, he said that, he wants to bring up-and-coming fighters. He wants to inspire them. Because check this out. Come on now, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, man, there are some things that really caught my attention concerning Jake Paul. He said that if it weren't for the sport of boxing, so the sport of boxing gives him focus. Don't we hear that time and time again with a lot of these fighters? Don't we hear that time and time again about fighters saying, if it weren't for boxing, I would have been dead, or I would have been on the freaking streets, I would have been in prison, blah, blah, blah. Jake Paul said the same thing. We can't knock him. I mean, I know a lot of people want to say, yeah, you've been fed with a silver spoon and this and that, yeah, but we got to respect this, ladies and gentlemen. Because Jake Paul is just like a lot of guys, and queens out there, where they say, the sport of boxing gives me focus, it gives me purpose, and, it drives me. And that's what Jake Paul said in this All Access. And even before this whole All Access thing, even before this whole Tyron Woodley stuff, I've seen him in other interviews, and I really do think he's serious about this. And I got to respect that. I know he can be criticized about the opponents he's fighting. I know, former NBA player Nate Robinson, that was not a fight, man. That was not a freaking fight. All due respect to Nate Robinson, I don't know his weight division. I'm sure I have a good chance against him. I've sparred, I've trained, man, down here. I can have a chance against that guy. All due respect, though. He's probably a big dude compared to me, but I'm just saying, skill-wise, that was not a fight, man. Yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, like I said, there are things to criticize concerning Jake Paul. I get it, but we gotta respect what he's doing. Who else is giving Amanda Serrano a big stage like this? Shouts out to his promoter if Amanda Serrano, going back to that. I don't know if she has a promoter. I think it is Ludabella, but whatever. Shouts out to whoever has been promoting her all these years in her career. But, shouts out to Jake Paul, too, for giving this wonderful opportunity and platform, because he has the means to do it. He has the means to do it. And expect Jake Paul to be around more in the sport of boxing, ladies and gentlemen. And if it's for the betterment of giving fighters an opportunity via Most Valuable Promotions, if I'm not mistaken, I reiterate, I think that's Jake Paul's promotional company that he's trying to push for the sport of boxing. If he's doing it for the betterment of the sport, to pull more fans, I've talked about this before. I just don't remember if it was a video or a live session. I reiterate, I've talked about, I dig that if it's going to bring more fans to the sport of boxing and make the sport of boxing grow, awesome. He even said this, man. If I remember correctly, it was like the face-to-face thing, that he did with Tyron Woodley with that same announcer guy, MMA guy, whatever, analytical dude with the glasses, bald head. I think if I'm not mistaken there, or in All Access, I just don't remember where, because I've been seeing all this, material and content in the lead up to this fight. He talked about, Jake Paul, man, he wants to bring the sport of boxing back to the top, one of the top combat sports in the world. I can't knock that, man. I can't knock that. I do knock, though, however, some silly, stupid things, in my humble opinion. I call it that because that's just what I think about it. Triller, what they're doing with these concerts, making this whole thing, with the boxing events, Fight Club. I get it, but it pulls fans. That's the good thing about it. But I just want to see boxing. I just want to see boxing. But the good thing about all this, ladies and gentlemen, is that it's pulling new people in the sport of boxing, man. New fans. Now, obviously, there are some things to, on the flip side, in retrospect as well. Like, if you look at it from another angle, I mean, you can also blame certain fighters out there and promoters, okay? Mainly promoters, I imagine. But I know that's a controversial, topic. But we can blame other elements in the sport of boxing. And the reason why this is happening, okay, this Jake Paul stuff, this influencer stuff, these older guys coming back, is because these fighters that are already out there, the top aren't fighting the top. At least not a lot of them. There are some, though, that are fighting the top, okay, that are really fighting tough competition, and I really respect that. And that's where my emphasis is on in this channel mainly. Okay, if you don't know that, if you're a new listener, go ahead and check out the channel, research it, man. I mean, that's what I mainly focus on. I do talk about some of the other things that are going on in the sport of boxing that maybe not be my favorite, my cup of tea, but, it's boxing, and I like to cover it. You know what I mean? But we can blame that aspect of the sport as well, where you have promoters or fighters out there that they just don't want to face the top. And that's why these other things are going on, these trends, these old-timers coming back, these older legends coming back to the sport of boxing because, the young prime champs aren't fighting the other prime champs as often. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's never happening. No, I'm enjoying the sport of boxing. I love it. I'm having fun. But at the same time, we do see this thing going on. And it's jeopardizing the sport to a big degree. Because I think, humbly, that we're the best fighting the best a little bit more, the sport would be bigger than it is. I'm not saying it's dying. I'm not saying boxing is dead. Of course not. But if we were to see that more, I think these new trends that we're seeing probably wouldn't be as big. Anyways, but I think this is great, ladies and gentlemen. I think this is great, man. I think that, who's to say Jake Paul isn't going to give opportunities to see bigger fights that we want to see? I mean, this is a great opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. I repeat, for Amanda Serrano, for Triple D. Tommy Fury's even going to fight there. That's nice. I never heard of his opponent, whoever the heck that guy is. He Pretty Boy, he calls himself, or something like that. I think he's a lot of showboating. I don't know, man. Whatever. But, Tommy Fury is going to be there. He can showcase his skills. Triple D, coming back from a loss. How many people would choose him to come back from a loss? Jake Paul chose him and saw something in him. I think that's awesome. Because a lot of people out there think that, a person with the loss, a fighter with the loss, it's over with. Of course not. I think this is a great opportunity for Daniel Boyle, man. I think he's going to really show up and show out. As you can tell, this video is being pushed before the event, okay? And by the time I push this video and actually publish it, it's probably, they're already fought, And my prediction is this. Jake Paul is going to smash Tyrone Woodley. I think that Amanda's going to beat Yamilet. Amanda is just too serious, and she's just too, disciplined and skilled. I think Triple D is going to win, and I think Tommy Fury is going to smash that other guy, But, so this is before the fight, so we'll see what happens. By the time I push this video, I repeat, the fight's already happened, okay? The fight's already happened, the event's done. So, but I just want to focus on this, man, and, bring out there on this platform that, I think we should respect Jake Paul just a little bit more. And I repeat, man, I know he does clownery things. I know that's just him, man. That's why he has such a big YouTube thing, platform and social media following. Sometimes when you do stupid things, okay? I mean, for crying out loud, let's just be 100. Look at the crate challenge. People are freaking dying from that thing, if I'm not mistaken. I think somebody died or people died. That's just freaking, oh my gosh, man. Rest in peace to those, I don't know, man. That's just, that challenge is really nonsense. I don't know, man. That's just nonsense. You see, but it went viral and it freaking, on TikTok, whatever the heck platforms are using it on, and it's just going viral everywhere. Sometimes stupid things go viral, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes foolish things, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying I won't get a laugh sometimes off of things that go viral that are foolish and senseless. It is what it is. Sorry if I'm offending anybody, but I don't mean to, okay? That's just my perspective. I'm sorry. I mean, you can see it in music too. You can see it in music. You can see it in all avenues, But in respect to music, sometimes foolish music, and that's not really talented, is freaking viral. I'm not saying all of it, okay? But anyways. But I understand that aspect of Jake Paul. That a lot of things he does, it's like, Okay, whatever. But that's just his thing. That's why he has millions and millions of subscribers and viewers. And hey, it is what it is. That's his grind. You know, everybody has their own thing. You know what I'm saying? And I understand that's why people knock him. And I understand that's why a lot of people don't take Jake Paul seriously. But I'm making this video, ladies and gentlemen, you know, to emphasize that. I think Jake Paul is serious about the sport. You know, it looks like he made a promotional company, you know, MVP, most valuable promotions or something like that. You know, he's reaching he's reaching out a hand, you know, to fighters like Amanda Serrano, Triple D, at least in this event. At least in this event, because if I'm not mistaken, this is the first event under his promotional movement or what have you. You know, it's his first event. You know, he did it before on Triller or whatever the heck he did it on, and I don't remember the other one. I think it was via DAZN, or I don't freaking remember. I really don't care. But now I'm paying attention more because he's actually under his first event. I gotta repeat this, under his first event. Look at who's on the undercard, ladies and gentlemen. We can't knock that. Amanda Serrano, co-main? Come on now, that's amazing. That's amazing, ladies and gentlemen. Which promotional companies are doing that, really? Not really many. For crying out loud, I made a video on this recently. And the lead up to it, formerly known as, you know, Spence versus Pac-Man event. We all know what happened, whatever. But when it was Spence and Pac-Man, I made a video on it, you know, right before it was announced. You know, the co-main to that amazing matchup, Spence and Pac, but we know what happened, okay, was Ugas versus Fabian Maidana. As a freaking co-main, I didn't like that, man. As a co-main event, that's a joke to me. I'm sorry, you know, that was a joke to me. And look how things work out. You know, praying still for speedy recovery. Last I heard, Spence said, you know, in a few weeks he's back. So awesome. But, you know, I wasn't happy with that Ugas freaking, you know, Fab and Maidana. No knock to Fabian Maidana, but according to Ugas' skills, he should have, you know, but we know what happened there. But come on now. Jake Paul and Woodley. I understand, man. I understand. I humbly think that Amanda should be the main event in that. But it's Jake's movement, man. I mean, he's the one that's reaching a hand out. And who else is doing that? You know, that's just amazing. I'm sure Amanda Serrano, she had the headlines, you know, and other fights and events. But this is a huge platform. That's what I'm saying here. Huge platform, ladies and gentlemen. You know, so shouts out to Jake Paul for this. And I reiterate, man, I think he's serious about it. I've noticed this in him and his persona, how he speaks. Yeah, he says a lot of dumb things, whatever. But, you know, there are some things where I see he's serious in this, ladies and gentlemen. And expect Jake Paul more. Of course, okay, I know, and like I said, he's criticized about a lot of things. You know, of course he has no chance against Canelo. That's laughable. And I know he's criticized a lot about that. But how many fighters out there, ladies and gentlemen, have said stupid things too? Have said foolish things, have acted like clowns to promote themselves? Just look at Adrian Broner, you know, in his career. You know, just look at several fighters out there, you know, dancing and, you know, dancing in the ring walk, like, you know, I don't know, man. Just things that, okay, I understand. A lot of people don't look at it as stupid and stuff, but a lot of fighters have said stupid things too, just to promote themselves, blah, blah, blah. I understand Jake doing that and saying even offensive things. I don't care about that stuff. But I do respect this, man. I do respect, it looks like he's serious in the sport of boxing. And I reiterate, him calling out Canelo, you know, that hit list thing he had or whatever, Canelo will make him look like a freaking, oh my gosh. I don't even want to talk about that. There's not even anything to talk about when it comes to a Jake Paul and Canelo fight. There's nothing to talk about there. Because it's a joke, man. You know. But I do respect this, man. You know, it looks like Jake Paul's serious in the sport of boxing. And it looks like he's really training, man. I mean, I respect that in him. I respect. Ever since it was a kid, man, youngster, high school, whatever the heck, when he was in school, he's been in all sports. He has a competitive spirit. You know, he wants to compete. And I got to say this again to close. I got to say this again. How many fighters out there come from the same story as far as this? Look at, ladies and gentlemen. Because a lot of people say, and I get it, you know, that, you know, everything was handed to Jake Paul, you know, in his upcoming, you know, he was in Disney and, you know, doing all this Nickelodeon, whatever the heck he was doing. I really don't care. I don't know, and I don't, whatever. You know, we think he had it easy. I get it. But, listen, Jake Paul said this, man. I think it was in the All Access or wherever the heck he said it. He explained how if it weren't for boxing, he said that, you know, all the money he was making, the YouTube platform, Disney, and all those successes he has had, he said he didn't see himself going anywhere, man. All the money and you know, he said he was going nowhere with all that. How many times have we heard of stories? I remember right now Vanilla Ice. Remember Vanilla Ice, ladies and gentlemen? You know, how successful was he in his career? And we've seen it with rap artists, we've seen it with actors, we've seen it all over the place. In all avenues, ladies and gentlemen. This is real stuff here. You know, they had all the money, they had all the success, doors have opened up, and they just, you know, blew it all away in drugs and all this nonsense and all this stuff that destroys them. Jake Paul was saying that. He was saying, man, I was seeing, you know, I was headed to nowhere in my future. It seemed like he was kind of, you know, it was kind of implying that he was going to, you know, mess it up with drugs and all this crazy stuff. I don't know what he does in his personal life, whatever, but I don't know if he does that stuff, but, you know, but he said, what I'm trying to get at is this. He said that boxing is giving him purpose in life. Boxing is giving him focus and discipline in life, something he's never had before. And how many of these fighters have that same story, ladies and gentlemen? I'm not saying Jake Paul comes from the hood and from the ghetto and he comes from nothing. I don't know, whatever. But a lot of these fighters have that, you know, they can relate to Jake Paul in that. Because a lot of these fighters that come from nothing say the same thing, man. They say boxing saved my life. You know, it gave me purpose. It gave me focus. You know, I'm clean now. I don't do this. I don't do that because now I have something to live for. Jake Paul practically was saying the same thing, ladies and gentlemen. Who am I to disrespect that? You know, there's a lot of things I don't agree with him. But I do dig what he's doing. And shouts out to Jake Paul for this, man. Shouts out for him. Shouts out to him, man, for helping out other fighters. And I hope he does it more. I hope he does this more. And reaches out to real fighters out there. And he's doing it. I reiterate, his first event, he's actually reaching out to amazing fighters. You know, I think this is just the beginning, and I think we're going to see a lot more from him. Love him or hate him, man. You know, and I hope he does it to really lift up the sport. You know, he's bringing out an academy. He has an academy out there. All this young talent out there. You know, it looks like he has that gift of coaching. And let's not come with the, oh yeah, he's not a boxer. How could he coach? There's a lot of coaches out there who really haven't boxed. You know, they probably fought here and there, but you know, they're the brains behind the fighters. You know, I see Jake Paul in that, man, being a mentor in the sport of boxing too. I mean, for these up and coming, he said that Generation Z, Zen, whatever the heck it's called nowadays. He says he wants to reach out to that generation too. That's awesome, ladies and gentlemen. That's awesome. You know, so hey, shouts out to Jake Paul. Shouts out to what he's doing, man. And I really hope he does, you know, he stays in this seriousness in the sport. And concerning him fighting the top guys and stuff like that, he has a long ways to go. But I do see improvement. With the little fights he's had in pro boxing, you know, there is improvement, man. There is improvement in the ring. Even though they've been a round or so. But I can see improvement. It's kind of like, okay, it's a quick example. Conor Benn. You know, a lot of people said I haven't seen enough in Conor Benn. You know, he beat Vargas in the first freaking 45 seconds of the fight or whatever. You know, Samuel Vargas. But that shows that he's improved a whole lot. And that little time, I saw enough in Conor Benn, man, that he was really patient compared to all his other fights. Impatient, just going in there trying to, you know, opening up in defense, getting rocked by his opponents. He was really patient, effective aggressiveness, channeled aggression against Samuel Vargas, and it got him the TKO. It's kind of like that with Jake Paul. You know, even though he has had short fights, the little fights I've seen in him, he's improved in his last fight. So, you know, that's what I want to focus on in this video, man. And at least give him the benefit of the doubt, you know what I'm saying? So we'll see what's next. Of course, he can't compete with these other top guys. I don't even know what weight division he is. I think he's light heavyweight. I don't freaking know. Whatever. But, you know, he has long ways to go. But if he just keeps on fighting these former, you know, 50, 40-year-old MMA guys, I mean, yeah, whatever. But if he's helping out other fighters, awesome. If he's helping out other youngsters, if he's bringing in more fans to the sport of boxing, you know, new fans that don't know, you know, anything a lick about the sport, and gives them the opportunity to see the Amanda Serranos, to see the Triple Ds, to see the Tommy Furies, to see the other, you know, people that may be in Jake's future events. Awesome. However, I do think this, man, that Jake Paul, I think that if he continues grinding, if he continues training and being serious about it, I think he can do something in pro boxing as far as his performances and the opponents he fights. But we'll see, man. What do you think about this, man? Renee Box Young, thanks so much for liking, subscribing, sharing. I reiterate once again, if you're a new listener, subscribe, man. If you love sport of boxing, this is a place where we just speak about sport of boxing. Definitely subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when I do it. Tongue twisting, ha! So you know when I do my flash lives, when I do, the premieres of my videos such as this, so you can tune in real time. Comment in the comment section of the Playback family. Thank you guys so much. Renee Box Young, peace out. Stay safe.
Knock you out.